1. Welcome, everybody, to this episode of Business Basics. Our guest today is Melissa Miller, and she is with Office Evolution. Now, Melissa, welcome, and tell us about Office Evolution. I saw this on LinkedIn. That's how we connected at first, and I was intrigued. So, what is it?
We are a shared workspace.
Okay.
So we have 25 total private offices, some co-working space. We've got a kitchen area that we all share. A business center manager sits at the front desk and acts as receptionist for everybody who walks through the door. And then we've got a couple conference rooms that we can rent to members and our guests. So we're a shared workspace for small business owners, entrepreneurs, remote workers, people who are working from home and they don't want to work from home. They want to be around people. They want to be able to leave the distractions of home. And so, we're the space for that. And they can either, sign up with just a co-working membership and have 24/7 access to our co-working space, or if they want to have their own private space where they can leave documents or computers or whatever, they can rent a private office and then
Okay. So it comes with a key. It has a door, right?
Yeah.
But the advantage to going with Office Evolution as opposed to just renting space in downtown, right? What's the biggest advantage?
So Office Evolution is a franchise.
Okay.
We have, it was founded in 2003 out in Colorado.
Okay.
And since then, it has grown to, there are 72 locations across the United States. And yes, we here in Cedar Rapids, we're the first Office Evolution in Iowa, and unfortunately still the only Office Evolution in Iowa. The closest ones here would be Kansas City, Ann Arbor, St. Louis, kind of the bigger cities that surround us. But the benefit of being a member of Office Evolution is when you're a member of one Office Evolution, you're a member of all Office Evolution. So your key fob will give you 24/7 access to the Cedar Rapids Office Evolution. But if you're on vacation in St. Louis and you need to pop in and check some emails or get on a conference call,
right,
you can go to the Office Evolution there. Your key fob will get you in because it's 24/7 access. So even if it's a weekend or at night, you can get in. They all have the similar branding because it's a franchise, and so the office layouts are similar too. So they're all going to have the private offices, but they're all going to have that co-working space, that drop-in space where you can sit down, hook up to the Wi-Fi, and do whatever work you need to do. So for people who travel a lot, or they're sales and they do a lot of traveling, it's a no-brainer.
It is. And so you have 25 spaces within the location in Cedar Rapids, but 72 Office Evolutions across the U.S.
Correct. Yes.
That's
and all
cool.
And they all have, that drop-in space where you can drop in, or if you're having a meeting with somebody and you have to go to Chicago and have a meeting, you can call the business center manager there in Chicago and rent one of their meeting rooms, one of their conference rooms.
Great. Now, do you have, you can rent out, like if I was going to rent out a space and I wanted it, consistently, would I have the same office location, the cubicle or whatever you call it, the individual office unit each time? I would. Okay.
Yeah. So it is for our members who sign up for the dedicated space and they want their own private office. It is their private office. They are the only ones, they have the key to it. They can leave all their stuff, set it up and decorate. They can put nails in the wall and hang pictures.
Oh.
We're fine with that. So, they can make it their own, and which is really nice to make it customizable. We do provide all of the office furniture. However, if we've got somebody who wants to join us and they're like, you know what, we don't need that desk because they're a therapist and they want to have a couch or something, bring in their own furniture, they are welcome to do that.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
And, one of the other advantages, having been a property owner in my younger days, uh, I was always concerned because we'd go to our office, but if the roof started to leak, I had to fix it, or if the lights went out, the ballast in the fluorescent bulbs went out, that was on my shoulders to take care of that. In this situation, no worries on my end.
Correct. We take care of everything for our members. They're paying just their monthly office rental or membership um, fee, whatever that may be, depending on their membership. We take care of all the utilities, the high-speed internet. We've got coffee, tea, and all the beverage service for all of our members and their clients when they come in. We're taking care of all of that stuff. If the TV behind us starts acting
Right.
up, we're taking care of that.
Very good.
So yeah.
Now, you took an untraditional path to get to where you are today. Tell me about that.
Yes, very. I went to school, got a degree in elementary education, and I was an elementary teacher for 14 years before deciding that education was not going in a path that I wanted to continue with it.
Yes.
I was working more than I wanted to, and I also, had at this time, some younger children, and I just found myself going into school and working on weekends, grading papers late into the night, and it wasn't making me happy anymore. So for a couple years, I had no idea what to do. I didn't know what I was qualified for. All my life, I wanted to be a teacher, so I had no idea what to do. And then my husband, he works for an engineering and automation company, and they had some projects out in Colorado. So he was looking for office space to put his engineers in Colorado. Okay. And he found Office Evolution out there. So he went out and toured, and he just really liked the facility. He liked the way they ran things, and he ended up putting some engineers in the Louisville location and developing a really great relationship with the Office Evolution corporate team, and learned what it takes to buy a franchise, because he was just intrigued. He loves small business. He loves growing businesses. And so he was like, Cedar Rapids needs something like this for the small business owners. And he knew I was also discontent in my teaching, and so he proposed. He's like, well, if we bought into this franchise and we bring it to Cedar Rapids, do you think you could be the business center manager for the first couple of years and learn how to run this business? And being the teacher, I'm like, well, yeah, you're a lifelong learner. Of course. Of course I can do it. So
piece of cake.
we jumped in. Yeah, but it's been a great journey. So we bought into the franchise in 2017.
Okay.
And then when we were trying to find a location, we had looked at multiple spots in Cedar Rapids, but we loved the Nubo area, which is it's not exactly downtown, but it's close to downtown, and it's just a really vibrant community here. There's a strong entrepreneurial spirit, and so there were some new buildings down here that we looked at, and we just fell in love with it. So we were like, it has to be here. But of course, it was a brand new building. We had to do the build out process. So it was a good year before we opened, and we opened in April of 2018.
Okay, that's great. And you're nearly full, right?
We are getting there. We were right on track. Typically, there's about a 2-year ramp up until you're full and you're in the black. And we were right on track and so close. Come March, it was looking so pretty and perfect, and then coronavirus decided to rear its ugly head,
Yeah.
So it took us back a little bit because we did lose some office members. We had a company that was in here, and they did like the Invisalign
Okay.
with the Invisalign trays. And they had 4 offices, and they ended up closing shop completely because
Oh,
they were closed down and they just weren't able to sustain and make it through. So we lost them. And then we also had an office member who worked remotely for a company that plans like worldwide conventions
oh,
across the globe.
those have
Uh,
changed.
those have changed, and that business was hit hard. And unfortunately, the remote employee that was working here was laid off.
Yeah.
So, we did take a few steps back, but the good news is the last couple months, June and July, we've been going back up. We're getting more leads. We are signing more offices. So things are starting to look better.
That's
Slowly,
great.
yeah.
And another advantage, if you can tell by when you rewatch this recording, is that my internet is not great. I'm sure you guys have great internet at Office Evolution.
It is one of the things we advertise.
It should be. I mean,
Stable, good internet, which is important. And
oh
that's
yeah.
where, I think we did take a couple steps back when COVID came around. But I think, with as many people who are still working from home, and they're, these large corporate offices that are kind of changing the way that they're going to do business in the future, having so many people in one big room and all in cubicles, they're finding out, maybe that's not the best thing to do. So, I think the future looks really, really bright for co-working spaces, especially co-working spaces like Office Evolution that are more focused on the private offices. So, even through this whole COVID shutdown, we've stayed open the whole time. We did reduce our hours, in April and May. But we needed to stay open because we receive mail for all of our members.
Oh, sure.
And so, we're an essential business. So even though during April and May, we really didn't see a lot of people coming in, we were still here sorting through the mail, making sure it was getting in their mailboxes so they could just pop in quick and, grab their mail. And then about June and July, we started to see some office members slowly trickling back and working from their offices. And because, everybody's in their own private office, we're able to social distance and, just do a good job of keeping the center clean and keeping people healthy and work
Yes.
safe.
Right. And stock up on Purell and every hand sanitizer.
Yep. Yeah,
Exactly.
sure did that.
Yeah, I think we all did. All right. So tell me what this is an interesting journey you've been on. Tell me what has been your learnings along the way. What's the wisdom you can impart to somebody who's, I like the franchise idea. I bought a franchise, you bought a franchise. There's advantages to having a franchise as opposed to just carving it out on your own, right?
Absolutely. So like I said, Office Evolution was founded in 2013, and then we bought into it in 2017. So they had, what is that? 14 years of figuring out the business and the best practices before we even jumped on board.
Right.
And so, all of those processes were already in place. All of the, the things that the corporate office does for us, they do the invoicing for us. So they produce all the invoices at the beginning of the month. We just have to review them, make sure they're correct, and then say, yep, send them out, and they send them
nice
out.
is that?
Yeah, there's so many things they've created multiple partnerships for us. So we're partnered with a call center. So for our members who would like to have phone answering, they just fill out a survey, and then all the calls that they get are going to that call center, and they're being answered by professional people. And they're not missing those calls. Because I mean, how often are you in a meeting and you're missing calls? Or if you work in construction or roofing or plumbing, and you are doing a house call, but other people are calling you and you're missing those calls. And then, you know, if I'm calling a plumber and the first one doesn't answer, I go on to the next one, you know? So, I mean, it's just nice to have somebody who has created those partnerships for us. And because Office Evolution is a larger franchise, those partnerships are easier to make with other companies and other businesses.
And I think the other benefits too with buying into a franchise, Melissa, is they've got the branding already established. So your franchise agreement includes their branding, so you have that recognition right away. And the fact that, and you said this earlier, I believe, the fact that, you know, when COVID-19 hit, you already had a support group. You could get on with other Office Evolution franchise partners and say, what are you guys doing? And that's key, right?
Oh yeah. And they are, you know, the Office Evolution team, they're amazing. We have monthly owners calls. So, I mean, it is constant communication. And we use platforms where we can, you know, if we have a question or a problem, we can post it on this platform, and then all the other Office Evolution franchise owners see it and they can respond to it. I mean, it's just the systems are in place, and it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy. And then the other thing, like, so Office Evolution has been, as a franchise, they've been growing and doubling every year the number of franchise locations they have. So there have been some growing pains. You know, the systems that were in place back in 2017 when we came on are already changing because we've outgrown them. And so, but as a franchise owner, I don't have to worry about that. I just have to learn the new systems. But the corporate team is figuring out, okay, we've grown so big, we've outgrown this procedure or this system that we were using. And they do all the research to figure out what's going to be best for the company to move forward with. And then once they do, I mean, they'll do alphabet testing, and I mean, they're very thorough. And once they've made up their decision, then they bring it to us, and we just have to learn it. It's just,
that's great.
Yeah, it's the only way to go.
Yeah, it is. And for a business model, I mean, your husband's a silent partner. I mean, he has a full-time job, but it's you, and do you have one or two other people to help you then, or how does that work?
Yeah. So it's a one employee model. And originally when we first opened, I was that one employee. And it's the business center manager. So it's the person who sits at the front desk and runs the business. She does all of the sales calls. She does, you know, a lot of the marketing. So she's pretty much running the show.
Okay.
Well, and I shouldn't say she, some of the business center managers are he's, but that business center manager, when we first started, I played that role, and I thought it was important for me to play that role so that I could really learn the business and learn all of the systems and just have a really good understanding of it. But then once we had grown, it was the fall of last year, we had grown so much that we were almost full, and it was harder and harder to get away to networking events or to get out into the community and meet with people because I was so busy at the front desk. And so I was just like, I think it's time. I think it's time we hire a business center manager who's not me.
Right.
And it helped because I was in the role during the interview process. I knew what to ask. I knew what to look for in a good business center manager. So yeah, so we've hired somebody to enable me to, instead of working in the business, work on the business.
Thank you. I preach that all the time. It's like, I mean, truly to have a business model a successful, profitable enterprise that works without you, right? Isn't that the ideal?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really is. I mean, that's what I do when I work with clients, is help them get to that point. But the first part is the mindset. They've got to see themselves not being in there working, pushing pencil or whatever, cutting hair, whatever they're doing all day long. They got to think, I need to work on the business.
It's the only way to grow.
Yeah, it is.
You're not going to grow if you can't.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Another franchise down the road, perhaps? I mean, Iowa's crying out for it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the 5-year plan. It always has been. We wanted to get this one profitable.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we are looking at, and through our networking and bringing people here, we've had a lot of people say, so, when you bring in one to Iowa City, when are you going to bring an Office Evolution to Marion? So it's definitely in the back of our minds. We have people asking for it. We would love to open more, but we need to get this one profitable, and then we're there.
Yeah, right. It'll be there sooner than later, I think. It's a great concept. So tell me, what is it that inspires you each day?
It is definitely being here at Office Evolution and seeing a lot of our members, small business owners, seeing them be successful and grow their business, because our memberships are so flexible. If an office member is in one office and they've grown their business and they're ready to hire an employee, they can add on a second office at any time. Like we can do it. As long as we have the space, we can do it. And so we've had a couple of office members doing that, and their business has just grown so much. They've either added on an office, or they decided, you know what, I'm gonna go get that larger office with a window now, just because they are being successful. And I think that's the most inspiring. Like, maybe it's the teacher in me. I just like to see when with the students, when the light bulb clicks and they got it. Like, I like to see our small business owners like, hey, we got it. We're successful. We're doing this. So I think that's very inspiring.
That is so cool to see that aha moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just, I think we're privileged when we're able to witness that. I love it. All right, don't go away. I'm going to wrap this episode up. Hey, this has been Lee Iben with ActionCOACH Campus, and my guest today has been Melissa Miller with Office Evolution in Cedar Rapids. If you are a small business owner looking for a space, especially out of your home, give Melissa a call. Melissa, thank you for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Lee.
You bet.